Mr. Speaker, I present the Papua New Guinea University of Medicine and Health Sciences Bill 2025.
Clerk.
First reading, a bill for an act to establish and incorporate the Papua New Guinea University of Medicine and Health Science and for related purposes.
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill be now read a second time.
Make your speech.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is my great honor to present to this honorable House the Papua New Guinea University of Medicine and Health Sciences Bill 2025. This is the legislation that will fundamentally transform our nation's approach to healthcare, workforce development, and save countless Papua New Guinean lives. Mr. Speaker, after 50 years of independence, Papua New Guinea continues to face healthcare challenges of significant proportions. The statistics are sobering and demand immediate action. Our current workforce deficits are: number one, PNG has only 0.58 health workers per 1,000 population, compared to Fiji's 2.23 and Samoa's 2.74. We have approximately 16 community health worker training schools, 15 nursing colleges, and only 2 universities delivering medical officer training programs. 30% of our skilled health workers occupy administrative roles rather than direct patient care. Our capacity to train health staff has declined significantly over the last 24 years, with newly qualified staff production well below workforce attrition rates. Mr. Speaker, our maternity mortality ratio remains high at 171 per 1,000 live births, which are amongst the highest in the Western Pacific region. Infant mortality reaches 33 deaths per 1,000 live births. 40% of our health workforces is at or approaching retirement age. Countless Papua New Guineans continue to die from preventable diseases like malaria, TB, and pneumonia. Although neonatal, infant, and under 5 years old mortality has improved lightly, they are still the highest in the Pacific region. Mr. Speaker, our inherited historical infrastructure and access challenges. The 1999 Economic Structural Adjustment Program resulted in 10% public sector positions reductions. Number two, numerous aid posts were closed, especially in rural and remote areas, due to health staff shortages. Several nursing schools were forced to close due to these structural adjustment programs or directions. And number four, diminishing investments in training institutions has resulted in deteriorating infrastructure and declining quality of health worker training. Mr. Speaker, these are not mere statistics. They represent our mothers, fathers, children, and community. Each number reflects a preventable tragedy and demonstrates how inadequate planning has failed to meet the human resource development needs of our ever-growing population, which has increased dramatically over the last 50 years, without corresponding increases in healthcare workforce numbers and capacity. Mr. Speaker, our Constitution's national goals and directive principles are clear. Section 1 calls for integral human development, which requiring every citizen to contribute to achieving full human potential. This bill directly fulfills the constitutional mandate by establishing the educational foundation necessary to train the healthcare workforce our people desperately need for their healthcare services. Mr. Speaker, the solution, a standalone medical university. This bill has been carefully drafted by my department and its key stakeholder partners, including the Department of Health. The bill establishes the Papua New Guinea University of Medicine and Health Sciences as a fully autonomous institution with corporate flexibility and academic freedom necessary to rapidly address our crisis in health workforce. Strategic location and infrastructure, Mr. Speaker. The university will be established at Taurama, which was formerly the medical faculty of the University of Papua New Guinea, and is strategically located near Port Moresby General Hospital, our national specialist teaching and referral hospital. This proximity is crucial for clinical training, integration, and ensures students have immediate access to the most complex cases and advanced medical procedures available in the country. A number of clinical schools with public hospitals in the country have been prepared to provide technical teaching for students. Mr. Speaker, the first full corporate status and operational management autonomy. The university gains full legal and corporate status, which enables unprecedented flexibility to directly submit its plans and budgets to the Departments of Treasury, National Planning and Monitoring under the Public Finance Management Act, contract and procure with greater flexibility through collaborations with Department of Finance and National Procurement Commission under the Public Finance Management Act, establish and operate revenue-generating university businesses to support academic programs and student and staff welfare, sue and be sued, purchase and hold real and personal property, grant, sell, alienate, assign, and damage real or personal properties, sell flexible terms and conditions for staff employment subject to the Salaries and Conditions Monitoring Committee Act. Second, Mr. Speaker, comprehensive clinical training network. The enabling policy recognizes Port Moresby General Hospital as the principal clinical school with provisions for provincial clinical schools through partnerships arrangement. This network will approach the following: provide hands-on clinical training facilities within hospitals across the nation. Number two, enable students to experience diverse caseloads and healthcare challenges. And number three, strengthen rural healthcare capacity through distributed training. Number four, create pathways for graduates to serve in provincial and rural areas. Mr. Speaker, I call upon all provincial governments and provincial health authorities to work with the University Council to identify and prepare existing health facilities, including public hospitals, as clinical schools. And third, modern governance and leadership structure. The legislation creates robust structure and governance framework where it establishes a university council with legally appointed chairperson appointed by the National Executive Council. And number two, appoints a president serving as CEO and administrative head of the university. Number three, appoint multiple vice presidents for specialized university powers and functions. Number four, create flexibility in staffing arrangements to attract and retain world-class medical educators and researchers. Comprehensive training approach and academic excellence. Mr. Speaker, while increasing medical officers numbers is crucial, the 2008 Asia Pacific Alliance for Human Resource for Health report and the 2011 World Bank Health Human Resource Review provide compelling evidence that we must strengthen our entire healthcare workforce pyramid. The university will implement a comprehensive program approach in addressing student intakes. Mr. Speaker, the university will continue expanding MBBS programs to address critical shortage of medical officers, develop sound foundation programs to address GPA issues, rapidly develop postgraduate specialist training programs to reduce dependency on overseas specialists, and establish PNG-specific medical curricula that addresses its unique disease patterns and healthcare challenges. And number five, develop and establish health leadership and management programs. Mr. Speaker, the university will expand rural and primary healthcare training programs, recognizing that 80% of our population lives in rural areas. Number two, it will assume oversight and maintenance for standards of all clinical and nursing training programs. And number three, it will significantly strengthen public health training with primary healthcare focus as recommended by international best practices. Mr. Speaker, the university's academic and professional excellence through teaching, research, and community service. In terms of professional standards, promoting human resource development principles and upholding health sector workforce values and integrity. Quality training, ensuring all relevant health care receives appropriate, cost-effective, and acceptable standard pre-service and in-service training, conducting continuing education and professional development. Strategic workforce planning, making evidence-based workforce planning the foundation for all health sector training, recruitment, job placement, and professional development activities. Staff retention and development, ensuring skilled staff are trained, retained with improved moral and commitment levels to effectively serve PNG's people. Number 7, gender equity, applying gender equity principles in work environment, training, and professional development opportunities. Number 8, comprehensive workplace policies, ensuring PNG, University of Medicine and Health Sciences, and clinical schools implement workplaces policies that effectively respond to health and safety issues, HIV and AIDS impact. Adequate resource planning, ensuring adequate medical and allied health human resources are trained to meet current and projected service demands. Mr. Speaker, this government demonstrates its unwavering commitment through concrete actions and substantial financial investment for the preparation and sustainability of the university. Mr. Speaker, our historic investment and progress includes foundational infrastructure funding, which commenced in 2018 when the government appropriated initial funding for the former School of Medicine and Health Sciences. The current Maraperoso government continued appropriating essential funding for ongoing developments at the School of Medicine and Health Sciences. And Mr. Speaker, the management of the School of Medicine undertook crucial preparatory work to ensure planning and development continued and vital information was gathered. Mr. Speaker, there are 2 critical policy and systems structures that this Parliament's approval will ensure that it takes place, and these are: number 1, the 2026 operational budget. Without the legislative approval, the operational budget for 2025 and the staff establishment structures cannot be approved by relevant departments. And number 2, academic program launch. Without this approval, academic programs cannot commence in 2026, representing a critical time in this nation's history. In terms of financial planning and sustainability, Mr. Speaker, a comprehensive 2026 budget submission for both personal emoluments and goods and services has been prepared and submitted to Treasury. New financial management systems have been installed to handle the university's finances with corporate efficiency, and revenue generating strategies have been developed through the university's business enterprises, school fees for fee-paying students, research grants and partnerships, clinical service partnerships. Mr. Speaker, in terms of human resources transition, all employees of the former School of Medicine and Health Sciences will be seamlessly transferred to the new university as per new policy and legislative requirements. A comprehensive university staff organization structure has been developed and is pending approval from the Department of Personnel Management, contingent on Parliament's passage of this bill today. Enhanced terms and conditions will be implemented to attract and retain top quality medical educators and researchers. Mr. Speaker, I must emphasize that sustained funding commitment from both successive governments remains essential to maintain health education standards and train increasing numbers of students to address our workforce shortages. This university will pioneer in cutting-edge approaches that position Papua New Guinea as a leader in medical education within the Pacific region. In terms of technical innovation, for point number 1, advanced digital teaching and learning platforms that can reach the most remote communities, comprehensive telemedicine and telehealth infrastructures across our nation, hospital, nursing schools, and clinical teaching environments, state-of-the-art simulation laboratories for safe, repeated practice of complex medical procedures, virtual reality and augmented reality training modules for surgical and diagnostic procedures. Mr. Speaker, in terms of our strategic partnership and alliances, international collaborations with leading medical institutions for faculty exchange and curriculum development. Number two, partnership with regional Pacific universities to share best practices and resources. Number three, collaborate with PNG's mining, agriculture, and other industries to address occupational health challenges. Number four, engage with traditional healers and communities to integrate cultural approaches with modern medicine. And number five, participate agreements between clinical schools and provincial health authorities. In terms of corporate management excellence, Mr. Speaker, the university will employ modern corporate management structures that enable agile decision-making process to rapidly adapt to changing healthcare needs, quality assurance systems that meet international medical education standards, strategic resource allocation based on evidence and measurable outcomes, and number four, performance-based management system for continuous improvement. Mr. Speaker, the university's approach will be student-centered innovation, where evidence-based students recruitment targeting underserved communities, comprehensive scholarship programs to ensure talented students from all backgrounds across the country can access medical education. Mentorship programs connecting students with practicing healthcare professionals. And number four, community service learning that embeds social responsibility in medical training. Mr. Speaker, 7 years have passed since the 2017 National Executive Council decision number 2019-2017 to establish this medical university. This delay has had devastating consequences that we can measure in lives lost and communities underserved. Mr. Speaker, the costs of previously policy failures include 1999 Structural Adjustment Program, which serves as a stark reminder of what happens when we prioritize fiscal constraints over human development, which include 10% reduction, public sector positions led directly to the closure of numerous aid posts. Rural and remote communities were left without basic healthcare access. Multiple nursing schools were forced to close, creating a cascade effect on healthcare workforce development. The resulting healthcare infrastructure deterioration continues to impact service delivery today. Mr. Speaker, our evidence-based assessment led to extensive consultative process, which led to the development of this legislation, and which include comprehensive reviews of challenges facing medical education over the past 20 years. The National Department of Health sector's leadership in facilitating consultative meetings, the World Bank's review report, and Health Human Resource Enhancement Plan 2023 to 2030. Analysis of current health statistics and workforce projections, and inputs from key stakeholders. Mr. Speaker, we must acknowledge that given the extended time frame required to graduate medical practitioners and specialists, we cannot expect rapid increases in graduate numbers in the short term. However, this reality makes immediate action even more critical. Medical training requires 6 to 8 years for basic qualification. Every specialist training adds another 4 to 6 years. Every year we delay compounds the workforce shortage crisis. Early intervention in primary healthcare training can show results within 2 to 3 years. Mr. Speaker, in terms of the regional context, while PNG struggles with healthcare workforce shortages, our Pacific neighbors have demonstrated what is possible with sustained commitment to medical education and healthcare workforce development. We must learn from their successes and adapt their strategies to our unique context and needs. Mr. Speaker, call to action. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, this legislation represents far more than administrative restructuring. It is a fundamental investment in Papua New Guinea's future that aligns perfectly with our national development frameworks. This legislation aligns with our national strategic documents. The university, in terms of Vision 2050 that our founding father gave us, the university directly supports our long-term vision for human development and improved quality of life. In terms of National Health Plan, the legislation provides the educational foundation necessary to achieve the plan's workforce development targets. And number three, the MTDP4, healthcare workforce development, is identified as a critical enabler for economic growth and social development. Mr. Speaker, the legislation offers tangible hope to rural communities currently traveling days to reach basic medical care. Mothers who risk their lives in childbirth due to insufficient stillbirth attendance. Children suffering from preventable diseases because qualified healthcare workers are unavailable in their communities. Families facing catastrophic health expenses due to the need to seek treatment overseas. Healthcare workers currently overwhelmed by patient loads far beyond international standard. Mr. Speaker, the economic benefits goes beyond the humanitarian imperative. This university will be able to generate significant economic returns, reduce healthcare costs through preventative care and early intervention, decreased medical tourism expenses that currently drain foreign currency reserves, enhance productivity through a healthier workforce, job creation in the healthcare and education sectors, knowledge economic development through medical research and innovation, regional leadership positioning in Pacific healthcare education. Mr. Speaker, the cost of approving this legislation pales in comparison to the cost of continued inaction. Lives lost to preventable diseases, economic productivity lost to ill health, brain drains as talented Papua New Guineans seek medical education overseas, continued dependence on expensive expatriate medical professionals, deteriorating health indicators that undermine our international reputation and developments. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, I urge this Honourable Parliament to approve the Papua New Guinea University of Medicine and Health Sciences Bill 2025 without delay. This is our opportunity to honour our constitutional commitment to integral human development, to fulfil our obligation to protect and preserve Papua New Guinean lives, and to build a healthier, more prosperous future for our nation. The people of Papua New Guinea are counting on us. Let us not fail them. With these words, Mr. Speaker, I commend this bill to the Parliament for its swift passage and for full support. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Minister for Health.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand to support the introduction of this important bill today, the Papua New Guinea University of Medicine and Health Sciences Bill, as presented by the Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science, Technology. I rise today to support this bill with unwavering support of the Papua New Guinea's University of Medicine and Health Sciences Bill 2025, a bill that marks a historic milestone in our nation's pursuit of stronger, self-reliant and modern health system. The bill is far more than the establishment of another educational institution. It represents a strategic investment in our greatest national resource, the health and well-being of our people. It is a bold step towards a healthier, more equitable, and more prosperous future of all our Papua New Guinean citizens. Mr. Speaker, under the leadership of our Prime Minister, our government continues to drive reforms across the public sector aimed at building strong institutions capable of serving the people effectively. In the health sector, this university bill forms a cornerstone of these reforms, which will redefine how we train and manage our health workforce and how we modernize health infrastructure to deliver quality care across our country. Challenges we face in the health is real, urgent, and cannot be ignored. Papua New Guineans continue to struggle with critical shortage of trained health professionals. Mr. Speaker, I have witnessed these challenges firsthand as a former health worker, as a former CEO hospital, and as a former CEO of a PHA. At the Port Moresby Regional Hospital, our doctors and nurses worked double shifts under immense pressure, striving to meet overwhelming patient demand. In our remote districts, a single community health worker may be responsible for the entire communities that should be ideally be served by a full team of professionals. Our current health workforce ratio of 0.58 health workers per 1,000 population is far below the World Health Organization's recommended minimum of 4.45 per 1,000. Mr. Speaker, in practical terms, this means we operate with barely 13% of the workforce required to deliver essential services. These numbers are not mere statistics. They represent lives lost, mothers dying in childbirth, children unable to access care, and communities held back by poor health outcomes. Mr. Speaker, currently the Bachelor's of Medicine and Surgery program under the School of Medicine and Health Sciences at the University of Papua New Guinea produces between 30 to 50 medical graduates annually. This output is clearly insufficient to meet the pressing demand of our population, where the doctor to population ratio stands at an alarming 1 to 16,000. The gaps in specialist manpower are equally concerning. Mr. Speaker, Papua New Guinea currently has only one interventional cardiologist, 2 neurosurgeons, 1 renal physician, and 1 radiation oncologist for cancer treatment, with no kidney transplant surgeon. One is currently undergoing training. Similar shortages exist across other subspecialties. These shortages have forced us to rely heavily on overseas referrals, placing immense financial and emotional strain on our citizens and health system. The root cause is clear. We have not produced enough medical graduates to sustain a pipeline into specialist training. If we continue graduating fewer than 50 doctors per year, we will not meet the health targets outlined in the Vision 2050. Mr. Speaker, this bill gives us the means to change that story. The transition into a standalone medical and health sciences university will allow us to scale up effectively. Beginning in 2026, the annual intake of medical students will increase from 100 to 200, creating a large pool of graduates to enter specialist training pathways and ultimately serve in critical areas of need. Specialist training will be supported through postgraduate programs at the Port Moresby General Hospital, which now serves as a Level 6 National Tertiary Referral Research and Teaching Hospital. Its infrastructure master plan includes predicated facilities under facilities for undergraduate education, specialized training, and clinical research, ensuring that the new university can produce high-quality medical specialists. Mr. Speaker, Papua New Guinea University of Medicine and Health Sciences will produce graduates trained in evidence-based medicine, equipped with modern diagnostic skills, and committed to maintaining international standards of clinical practice. This will translate into better patient outcomes, reduced medical errors, and health services that our citizens can trust and rely upon. Graduates will acquire not only technical skills, but also strong sense of national duty and cultural competence, enabling them to serve effectively across the diverse communities of our nation. Mr. Speaker, a central focus of the university will be primary healthcare, with the foundation of sustainable health system. With 80% of our population living in rural areas, we need health workers who understand community health dynamics, preventative medicine, and health promotion strategies. The university will enable us to deploy qualified community health workers, supervisors, the rural health extension officers to every district, ensuring that basic services reach even the most remotest of our communities. This model reduces the burden on hospitals and addresses health problems before they escalate to life-threatening emergencies. Mr. Speaker, our dependence on overseas specialists has been economically unsustainable and professionally limiting. The university's postgraduate training programs will enable us to cultivate PNG-trained specialists who understand our unique disease patterns, cultural context, and resource constraints. We can envision a future with cardiologists addressing population-specific cardiovascular challenges, obstetricians reducing maternal mortality rates, and the pediatricians tackling our unacceptably high infant mortality. This is not only about saving costs, Mr. Speaker, it is about developing medical expertise that is contextually relevant and capable of truly serving our people. Mr. Speaker, the establishment of this university also aligns with broader health sector reforms, forming an integrated architecture of future health in Papua New Guinea. The creation of the Health Services Commission, modeled on the Teacher Service Commission, will provide professional regulation, recruitment, placement, and promotion of health workers with consistency, fairness, and accountability. Graduates will first serve in primary healthcare facilities to gain essential rural experience before progressing to provincial and national hospitals. At the same time, the National Health Infrastructure Plan that's been approved by NEC 2025 to 2035 provides a 10-year framework for developing, upgrading, and maintaining health facilities nationwide. It ensures that all Papua New Guineans, whether in Kagwe or in Telefomin or Amatanai or wherever in parts of our country, can reach a functional health system within 1 hour of travel. Today, these reforms link workforce production, deployment, and infrastructure development into a coherent, sustainable system. Mr. Speaker, health is not merely a social service, it is a foundation upon which all other development rests. A healthy population is productive, economically engaged, and socially empowered. The economic benefits of this university will be profound. Healthier citizens contributing more effectively to national productivity, to reduce the need for costly social services, and generating a greater tax revenue for our country. Currently, millions of kina are spent annually on medical tourism as citizens seek treatment overseas. The university will reverse this trend, keeping healthcare investment within our borders while developing our own medical expertise. Reduced disease burden will also translate directly into the increased agricultural productivity, better educational outcomes, and a stronger, more resilient economy. Mr. Speaker, this university will position Papua New Guinea as a regional leader in medical education and health innovation. Its programs will attract students from across the Pacific, fostering revenue generation, regional collaboration, and networks of healthcare professionals committed to advancing health development in our region. In doing so, we exercise soft diplomacy through medical education, enhancing our international standing and influence in health matters. Mr. Speaker, healthcare is fundamental human right, yet in our country, the distribution of services has been unequal, with urban centers receiving disproportionate attention with rural communities are neglected. The university addresses this inequality through a distributed clinical training model, producing healthcare workers committed to rural practice and capable of delivering services in resource-limited settings. PNG-trained professionals will also be culturally competent, understanding traditional healing practices and community health benefits, thereby fostering trust and improving health-seeking behavior. The university will further contribute to greater equity, training female health workers to address maternal health, family planning, and gender-based violence issues that require culturally sensitive responses. Mr. Speaker, university will also act as a catalyst for innovation and modernization of our health system. Its digital teaching platforms will extend to telemedicine, allowing the specialist consultation to reach remote areas. Its research programs will generate Papua New Guinea-specific evidence for policy and practice, replacing reliance on international studies conducted in very different contexts. The university will establish and maintain professional standards for all healthcare cadres and ensuring quality care, public confidence, ongoing professional development. Beyond long-term, Mr. Speaker, capacity building, the university will address immediate health priorities. Maternal and child health will benefit through training of skilled birth attendants, midwives, and pediatric specialists, reducing preventable deaths, public health specialists trained in communicable disease control to combat malaria, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS, supporting our national health targets. As urbanization and lifestyle changes drives non-communicable diseases, the university will equip our workforce to manage diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and cancer, focusing on prevention and chronic disease care. Mr. Speaker, this bill is not merely about establishing another institutional, as I've said, it is about transforming the health system of our country. It's about ensuring that every child grow up healthy and every mother give birth safely and every community that can thrive because its health care is needed. Mr. Speaker, if I conclude, I want to thank the Dean of the Medical School, Professor Teforani, and his team who have actually worked hard. They are now in the chambers today on the Speakers Gallery. I thank them for their hard work for the last couple of years. We have been committed. I also to acknowledge the former ministers. This bill was passed, this particular addition was made by NEC back in 2017. I also acknowledge the former Prime Minister and everyone who has actually contributed to this particular bill today. And I urge again and I support the Minister presenting this bill on the floor of Parliament, that all of us can support to creating a healthier, stronger, and more prosperous Papua New Guinea. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well said. Thank you.
Honorable member for Obek.
Thank you, Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me also thank our good minister, Honorable Kino Kafio, for bringing his bill, a much-needed bill, to the floor of Parliament. Let me also acknowledge our people from the School of Medicine and Health Sciences who are here today. Mr. Speaker, human resources, the number one resource, natural resource any nation has. And trying to put in facilities and things to look after human resource should be the number one priority of any government, for that matter. Mr. Speaker, currently we have a human resource crisis, health human resource crisis in the country. That's a fact we have to establish, number one. There's a health human resource crisis in the country. As you've had some statistics being presented by the health minister and of course the higher education minister, the doctor to population ratio right now is about 1 to 17,000 or 18,000. And the WHO recommended ratio is 1 to 1,000 people. That's the doctor to human resource or to population ratio. So you can see we are about 16,000. We have one doctor saving 16,000 people. In actual fact, they should be saving 1,000 people. So that's why you see a lot of our hospitals congested, a lot of our patients being frustrated over the types of services being provided by our doctors. Mr. Speaker, that's one of the reasons why a lot of our doctors are actually leaving the medical profession. There's a brain drain happening as we speak. There's a lot of them who are actually going to other overseas countries, even to our smaller neighbor Pacific Island countries, because they're being paid good remuneration in those jurisdictions. Mr. Speaker, it is about time we establish a own university that sets its own agendas and looks after its own human resource. One of the biggest problems we have right now at our medical faculty is that a lot of experienced and professional doctors and professors have actually left the School of Health, Medicine and Health Sciences, simply because the remuneration package is not enough to maintain them. So a lot of our lecturers have actually left those schools and they're actually working in the public spaces now. To give you an example, the young doctor who graduates out and actually works in the public space earns about the same amount of salary as the professor who actually works at the School of Medicine and Health Sciences. So this big disparity is actually moving people. There's like a local brain drain that's happening where doctors are actually moving from academic institutions to public spaces and even private spaces. And with this bill now, what will happen is that the new university will basically set its own agenda. So in terms of the remuneration packages they'll be setting out, they have the power now to do that on their own. Whilst they were under the University of Papua New Guinea, they never had that leverage to do that because they subscribe to the same bylaws. So, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to congratulate the Minister for bringing this bill. We have to address this. This is a crisis we are facing right now in the country. The other thing I want to point out is in terms of the economic returns. I'll just give you an example. So far, there's about 1,500 patients who are fronted at our intervention cardiology unit for stents, for angiograms and all of that. And for you to get that same service in a cheaper sort of jurisdiction like in Manila, it will cost you a minimum of 50,000 kina. I used to do patient referrals for Enga provincial government when I was working as a doctor. And the minimum amount of money you need to attend one of those good facilities in Manila is about 50,000. So if you multiply 50,000 by 1,500, that's about 75,000 at 75 million kina. So we've so far spent about 30 million kina in establishing the cardiothoracic unit, and you can automatically see the return of investment. more than 300% already within a year or two. So in terms of economic returns, in terms of the return in investment in establishing this university, there's so much. You look at the productivity. When people get sick, they leave work for longer hours when you don't have proper facilities to attend to, or proper training facilities, so to speak. So, Mr. Speaker, this is a very good investment that the government is going to make when we finally establish a standalone university. In terms of the kind of patients that tertiary healthcare will serve, a lot of times we say public health is the way to go. That's true. It deals with the numbers, not the quality of people. If you look at the elite bracket of this country, these are the people who come down with lifestyle diseases. They come down with stroke. They come down with heart attacks. These are the people that will be treated at these tertiary health facilities that we are trying to establish. So when you don't establish those facilities, the cream of the nation gets taken away. And it costs the nation a lot because we invest so much in these people. And at the same time, in terms of their productive outcome, the nation misses out. So, Mr. Speaker, I believe it's about time we establish a standalone university. And in terms of capacity, my suggestion would be, there's a new hospital that's actually going to be built. I think we should look, because we should look higher, 10 years, 20 years from now, given the rate at which our population is growing, soon that place will be overcrowded. So maybe the government should look at an expansion sort of plan when it thinks of establishing this university. One of the things we did when I was minister was we were trying to bring out these satellite schools in all the big hospitals throughout the country, because the capacity right now in the short term, if we look at the short term, the capacity at the university right now is such that it can't take more students. So once we move those people who are doing third years, fourth years, and fifth years, those who are doing clinical medicine, once we start moving them to the bigger hospitals, we will free up space for those who come to do their clinical, basic medical science. Mr. Speaker, during the COVID pandemic, there were two things identified by WHO that had an impact, that had a very big impact in how services, health services were given out to the people. Those two things: number one, human resource. Number two, an ICT-based platform. Because right now, the world is actually short of doctors and nurses. Australian rural hospitals are actually prying on our medical resource, and they're taking them. So one thing they've realized is that even if you don't have the capacity or the numbers to go to the rural areas, an ICT-based platform can actually provide consultation services to the very remote areas in the country. And with that, I want to bring one dissenting view or one sort of frustration to the floor. Starlink is there to be gotten. We have nothing to hide, from the rest of the world. Mipla no karon something or nuclear weapons or mipla hiding technology or something. Mipla poor country. Bring him Starlink come na and can provide him all services for rural area blo mipla. Why is the agencies, responsible for allowing such companies to come into our country, stifling the process? All seem to have some kind of conflict of interest. Legally company where you go back door and ask him or give him illegal money. Yeah, this company is owned by the richest man in the world. Australia is doing that. You mean it put him all this rural areas so that our doctors in big hospitals and universities can provide this e-medicine services.
Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, what
He's a doctor. And he resigned for the education health minister. So my point to order is, you stop long, health minister, you resign. Now you're telling the people that we should do that, this and that. I'm not a doctor, but how you talk here? You so deeply.
Honorable Member, your point of order is out of order. When You have to, like, make him debate them. You can set up. No, you can make him debate. Minister.
Thank you, Speaker. Brother Ablomi and Bella does a minute support the time simple governor and Dr. Ga. You'd like and fighting people come straight in. But when I was minister, my number one priority was human resource. You know, every time I give him updated report, Blomi long, NSC na Prime Minister long, progress me make him address him something. So, you know, I mean, of playing politics. You get some up where you can play politics, but law medicine, when deal want them lifelong people, you should address him. So what may I talk to him, Sam? It's the Starling program. Prime Minister, through you, Mr. Speaker, Prime Minister. Starling program, you should start establishing now. Why you may stop him, Starling program, the country. Plenty benefit the Starling program. Well, I have a system lo mibla district. I had lo print him check. Mibla wait 2-3 months lo print him because network problem. You see, those are the two recommendations WHO made during their first convention after COVID. You know, stopped all other international travels. The first meeting they had after COVID, they identified two main impacting important resources that actually took part in, you know, mitigating the COVID factor that we had. And number one is the number of human resource. Number two, ICT-based platform. Any nation who has an efficient ICT-based, you know, services, health services, did really better during COVID time. So on time, Bisla, I just talk, thank you, long minister, we bring him Bisla, Bill Camp, and maybe support him. Now, me talk, thank you, the health minister, to good work, you may continue. I think it's about time you may increase the number of health workforce because I'm crisis level now. Thank you.
The honorable member for Abao.
Thank you, Assistant Speaker. I stand to support the bill, Minister. Thank you very much, Minister, for doing an excellent job. Thank you, Prime Minister, Chairman of Cabinet, for approving this important bill. And today, when we pass the bill, it will be a new era for health in the country. So thank you and congratulations, Minister. Well done. I just want to give a short background history to acknowledge the past colleges and the doctors and nurses and other health workers that have shaped this country before independence and after independence to now. We didn't have a medical college prior to 1960. Prior to that, the PG Medical School was training Papua New Guineans. And so the names like said Dr. Ruben Taureka were some of those pioneer doctors that were trained and came. And then, because of the need for the human resource training in the health sector, the Papuan Medical College was established in 1960. All of you remember that in 1966, the University of Papua New Guinea came in. It was not until 1971-72 that the medical faculty was established at the University of Papua New Guinea. And Professor Isi Kevau was one of those first who went to the medical faculty, and some of us followed immediately after that, before independence. One of the key historical factors that I would want to share is related to why is it that in 2001, the Faculty of Medicine and Faculty of Health Sciences were merged in 2001. In 1990, the Faculty of Health Sciences was established. The reason why we made a decision to merge the Faculty of Health Sciences and Faculty of Medicine was because there was lack of funding from the government. I want to emphasize that point. And I think that many of the established universities also are suffering from lack of support from the national government. Minister, it is an important initiative that you have brought to the floor of Parliament. Our challenge will always be, how will the national government, after this government and the years to come, by 2030, as you have predicted, that this university will then be fully established. The guarantee of security of funding is very, very important, because that will guarantee the quality of staff coming in and the quality of outputs going out. And that's not to say that we will debate against the bill. No, it has to be established. I fully support the establishment, because when I became Minister for Health in the 2017, after elections, I actually announced to the PNG Medical Society that we will be pushing for a standalone university. And you have now brought the bill on the floor. The Minister for Health and the member for Warbeck have rightly quoted the right quotas. I have always argued on the floor of Parliament that there are three categories of public servants that the nation must continue to increase the numbers and the quality. One is the health sciences, particularly doctors and nurses. Two is teachers, and one is police. These three sectors, law and order, education, and health, must remain top priority of every government. And therefore, because the increasing in the number of population, many governments through the budget system, we've always chased our tail, because the population overgrows the economic growth of the country. And so it is my firm belief with the standalone university that all the different cadres of health workers, from doctors to nurses to other allied health like physiotherapists, dentists, health extension officers, which now merge with the Divine Word University Medical Faculty, those have to be part of this excitement that you are creating today. And I hope and believe and pray that in the next 10 to 15 years, because HR development needs an average of 10 to 15 years before you see the changes coming out. And with the medical school, with training of 5-year formal training for MBBS, 2-year residential, and then 3 or 4 years of specialist training, you're looking at 10 years of training before a specialist comes out onto the workforce and starts serving the people. And so it is my prayer that within 10 to 15 years after the fully establishing this university, the country will enjoy the increasing number of health workers that we are now debating on the floor of Parliament. And thanks to you and the Maraperoso government for bringing this bill on the floor. I couldn't agree more with the demand and the use of ICT in health. I think it cannot be overemphasized. Telemedicine, e-health is the way to go. We will not completely train the right numbers of specialists ever, but we must continue to increase the standards of healthcare in the country. When I came out from the medical school in 1975, our 8 posts were served by community health workers or 8 post orderlies. And some of you honorable members of parliament are the children of 8 post orderlies that served the country for many, many years. And I want to acknowledge the high number of 8 post orderlies that served in the rural areas out there. Nothing out there, just payday, no communication, but they served right in the outskirts of the country. And according to WHO standards, Papua New Guinea, once upon a time, with the expansion of the 8-post facilities and 8-post orderlies and community health workers around the country, then actually met the WHO standards. And therefore, when I emphasize on government must continue to put emphasis of funding and training for primary health care workers, because specialists expensive and we won't train them after a very long period of time. Minister, while this is an excellent initiative and all of us are supporting it, and I for one fully support it, I would request that you push the community health post program in the country, that every village in this country must have a community health post. We will have to remove the one-man 8-post thing now. We are in the modern era with IT, social media. Every citizen wants a high standard of health care. And so the community health post program must be institutionalized in the budget, not just through ADB. It has to be part of the national budget. So I strongly urge that we, under your leadership, like the leadership you have brought this bill in, same leadership in promoting that every village must have a community health post. That impacts on the training, because in a community health post, you need 3 health workers there, minimum, the minimum standards. And so you need to train more nurses, more technicians, etc. It is my prayer that one day, for example, in my Kupiano Abau district hospital, that I will have a surgeon, I will have a physician, and I will have a pediatrician. That needs to be the minimum standards over time, that every district must have a district hospital, minimum manpower that must be approved by the Department of Personnel Management has to be that every district hospital must have these 3 key specialists, because they are the ones that can save the problem of many people lining up in the provincial hospitals or specialist hospitals. If we have a surgeon, a pediatrician, a gynecologist, then I think those are the key priority areas. Then the manpower, therefore linking the manpower training has to be with the demand for what type of care that we need to promote through this university that is coming, and therefore HR requirements. So strongly as Minister, apart from the community health post that we need to push, we must make sure that telemedicine is moving at a pace that is demanded right now. And thank you to the Minister and his secretary, who are now looking at how we can advance the telehealth and e-health throughout the country. And I think that itself, apart from the benefits that the nation will have with more human resource training through this university, standalone medical university and health allied sciences, I believe that the ICT program will cover everything. For the benefits of those of us who believe in ICT platforms, there is in existence, for example, right now, a young doctor who is working in one of our Port Moresby private hospitals. He's got an ICT health program. For example, if a citizen is sick, like you have a chest pain, and you and your wife is alone, she knows how to drive, she is 1 hour away to Port Moresby General Hospital, and you have to drive 1 hour to either Paradise or to Port Moresby General Hospital in order to ascertain what is the cause of that chest pain. Right now, there's a platform where you can directly access and specialist doctors will be available immediately. So if you have a chest pain, you will have a specialist cardiologist that you can directly, rather than go and line up at the emergency department, and you ask the nurse, and the nurse will look for the doctor. It's already 1 hour, and you have died. It has happened. So those are the type of exciting ICT platforms that are now available. And so, Minister, both you and the Health Minister, with this important initiative, I think ICT has to be part of this health training program. Like we are saying, I've been promoting the one laptop per child program must be part of the education policy. And every teacher must be computer literate. Every child must be computer literate. And every health worker must be computer literate. Every citizen must be computer literate. Because when we move into the telehealth, e-health, ICT health program, we have to speak the language and access healthcare in no time at all. So those are the exciting things that are coming, and reading through the bill, Minister, you have incorporated the avenues in this new university. So well done. The last point, two more points, and I will sit down. The second last point I want to raise is, in the old days, we used to bring registrars of the Royal Prince Alfred Hospital to be part of our training program. And then those of us who were what we call registrars, after we graduate, and then we were moving into a specialist program, we were called registrars, we will do an exchange program. So Royal Prince Alfred doctors will come to PMGH, because it was the training hospital for the medical school, and some of us would go over to Royal Prince Alfred Hospital. So we had those exchanges. And I strongly recommend in your structure of the university for linkages with regional and global institutions. That has to be part of the program, because we need those training arrangements. One of the benefits of that, apart from the technology transfer and skills transfer, is that there is a possibility of leading up to the accreditation of this university graduates with other universities and medical health systems around the world. Obviously, the issues of health manpower drainage is one of the issues, but we need to make sure that when our graduates graduate, they are marketable around the world, that their standard of the MBBS is marketable. And I can tell you that since the medical faculty was established in 1971-72, our graduates have been marketable. Particularly our medical graduates, we have been marketable. We can work anywhere in the world, but we have to sit the exams before we are allowed by those countries' boards to be allowed to practice. But over those years, the reason why I mentioned those past history of the colleges is because I want to say that we in the medical profession are some of the best trained doctors. We've worked overseas and we've come back. And I can tell this honorable house and our people that our MBBS that we started with our master's programs, we are some of the best trained doctors in the world. We are some of the best trained doctors. I'll just share my own experience. I went to Royal Prince Alfred Hospital in the intensive care unit. It was a night shift, so I had to go and work at the Royal Prince Alfred Intensive Hospitals. RPAH is the biggest hospital in the Southern Hemisphere. And we had a ward round and handover takeover. The young doctor from Australia, we came to our old man and said, I don't know what's going on. So no diagnosis was made. I touched the neck and the neck was stiff. At the medical school, they taught us neck stiff and meningitis here. So I told the young doctor, he's got meningitis, and he laughed at me. After handover takeover, I went and took the needle, took water out of the bag, sent it to the laboratory, and confirmed the meningitis. I started treatment. In the morning, he came back. The old man woke up, was awake and talking. What happened? We found a diagnosis and we treated it. That's an example of that medical doctors in this country are some of the best. And I hope that that training quality continues in this university. Congratulations. I fully support this bill. And it is my prayer that over time, that there'll be sufficient health workforce in the country. Thank you.
Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. The Assistant Speaker. Me, but not up talk to long time. You may will ask him, you may all support him. Tupla Minister is tap sitting on top long. That table, one time Minister of Health. But thank you, Lord Tupla Minister. He go past, make him the work to the cabinet processes. All Minister of Health before. Long all said he started with slow work. Minister Wong, Minister Lino Tom, Minister Temo too. Talked up long, as well as Minister Kavore. Talked up long Kerabim Medical University important. There is no greater investment than investing in doctors, lab technicians, and all health infrastructure and system. Now, banishing country from sickness, all issues with health, you may face it. May give me one blast 36, Lord 2020 time COVID-19 come. We only had in a nation of close to 10 million people that time, possibly around 10. Only 44 beds with oxygen ventilation attached to the beds. Doctor-patient ratio was almost 1 to 20,000 or so. This statistics also does indicate today, Dr. Minister, also 0.58, less than 1%. Doctor-patient ratio, believe me, you may stop along the rest of the nations in the Pacific. So the structural readjustments is taking place. Me like asking members on both sides. Somebody, the minister, like me passing some law. Me talk, thank you long University of Papua New Guinea. Passed them through, I've been around since 2007. Sometimes the university is territorial. I want to place on record my appreciation to Chancellor Sir Robert Igera, current Senate, Vice Chancellor of the UPNG. They weren't defensive. What we're trying to do now, just put him CCs, the umbilical cord between the medical faculty and School of Medical and Sciences, on the UPNG, and a lot of campus along MedFac, that was, Mr. Talk before, Senab Emiet, and we build around it. One time, Port Moresby General Hospital or some specialist hospital, Blimi, can become a training facility for doctors, Blimi. Link him. Hopefully that system will link to our School of Nursing, our community health worker colleges, so there's a distinct, clearly path to grow and incubate medical workers in our country. Our country, as a member of Labao, he talk is renowned for well-qualified medical workers. And I want to say thank you. Right after our 50th anniversary celebrations, we're moving in this space to train, educate, equip, and skill more medical workers to bridge the divide between lesser medical workers and more patients. As lifestyle-related disease and the characteristics of our medical needs changes over time, we need to make the necessary input. And this is one of such the structural readjustments, creating a specific university of its own to embrace all medical training institutions in our country that is anchored through this upper echelon of doctor training, including leading onwards later to postgraduate and establishing link with other sister medical schools in the region and globally speaking. For the first time, we've now done, for instance, in the 50 years,
Just this year, we've done for the first time kidney transplant. I was privileged to be in the operating room to witness the first ever kidney transplant in our country. 2 patients and 2 donors. For the first time now in our country, in our Port Moresby Hospital, we've been able to do heart transplant and the bypass, I beg your pardon, the bypass operation was successfully staged in a heart patient. We've saved over 1,000 patients from going externally to seek medical treatment in Philippines, Australia, elsewhere. Expensive it was for them, we've saved them. They're now doing angiogram and basic heart investigation, as well as angiogram and others in country, saving that is passed on to our people who need those specialist care. But apart from the specialist care, the everyday care, doctor patients, nurse patients, health worker patients, including the lab technicians and others that work in the combined health services must be properly trained to equip a nation that is growing in population, as well as a nation that is strategically placed in the middle of Pacific and also ASEAN and Asia, where commerce trade allows for more people moving in and out of our country. Need for health worker is important. I want to also thank Professor Tabaranaki and his team from the medical faculty. They've worked behind this. They've given the concerted effort. And through this, I want to impress on our Public Service Minister and the 2 relevant ministers to work to make sure that those who teach in a medical school are properly compensated, they're remunerated properly. We attract the best lecturers in the world because it's evident the IQ propensity of our science student is second to none. I want to say, second to none, I place on record. We've tested in the STEM students we produced the last 3 years, the cohort of 2023 STEM class, the cohort of 2024 STEM class. They've went to US, South Dakota University, for instance. 70% of our science students did not take a review class or repeated grade 12 class. They went straight. They said the entry test passed. First year cohort, 70% of them received Dean and President's Award in the science programs that they can do. They're children of the likes of Professor Seisi Kevao. And I picked just one name, Professor Seisi Kevao. God bless the man, a dedicated person, like many other PNG doctors who come back home to serve, including the member for Abao. Professor Seisi Kevao, for instance, the first medical graduate, went to Royal Prince Hospital in Australia, could have lived and worked and served there. They offered him a good work condition, but a giant of a man came back home, has given his life to the country the last 50 years, served as our country's first cardio specialist doctor, and remains so until this day as we speak. It shows the level of ability our children have because they come from the same descent of science students in our country. And this school will now give an opportunity for Papuanians to go into medical school with a purpose, knowing that that school is what they want at grade 12. They get in there. We want this school not to have a high rate of attrition without compromising quality. Still keep on nurturing science students picked with the high acumen, propensity, and potential to be doctors and medical workers. We feed them, embrace them, and train enough men and women to work in our medical services. I want to also propose to members of this House that this school will embrace a certain quota of training from students from the Pacific. Papua New Guinea, in the face of our own limitations, must be able to offer facilities to Micronesia, Polynesia, and rest of Melanesia. So we'll set up this school to embrace also our Pacific family, for them to also be learning from our institutions. This is a worthy construct. Just right after our 50th, all members of parliament who are present, make your mark, write your name down in history that you pass this law, a good law to set up the medical university, standalone medical university for our country. I pledge this government's full support to make sure infrastructure
the systems and the remunerations for the medical university is accorded in its right space, so to attract the best so that we get it serving our country going forward into the future. Thank you too much, Mr. Speaker.
The question is that the question be now put. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The question is that the bill be now read a second time. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clerk.
Second reading. A bill for an act to establish and incorporate the Papua New Guinea University of Medicine and Health Sciences, and for related purposes.
Honorable members, I have to announce that I have received a message from His Excellency, the Acting Governor General, Chief Se Gebis Salika, dated 29 October 2025, recommending the imposition of taxes and the expenditure of public money in accordance with Section 210 of the Constitution, insofar as the bill relates to and provide for such impossible and expenditure. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I ask leave of the Parliament to move the third reading forthwith.
Is leave granted? Leave granted? Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill be now read a third time.
The question is that the question be put. Those in favor say aye. Those in against say no. The ayes have it. Honorable member, the point of order.
Mr. Speaker, Mipla bin golo court amas per time, na court working decision amas per time. Every member in this house has a right to debate. Soon we're going to start citing contempt of court long parliament, na yubla go sanap court. The court's made numerous rulings. Every member has the right to debate. If he stands to debate, you must entertain his opportunity to debate. It's a right provided under the Constitution. No, you already passed them. You plus some school or court past them. So me talking you, Lord, is the point again. If there's someone that stands to debate, you must give him the right to debate. You cannot entertain a question be put when someone stands to debate. Your question be put is out of order. Thank you.
The chair has already made a ruling. Question is that the question be put. Those in favor say aye. Those are against say no. The ayes have it. Question is that the bill be now read a third time. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clerk. The question is that the bill be now read a third time. In accordance with constitutional requirement, the bill must be passed by an absolute majority of 60 members. Clerk, please ring the bell.